want to talk about?
College basketball, right?
I don't care.
We can talk about.
Talk about your experience at the Duke game. Talk about how that went, how the game was, what was it like watching Duke play, etc., etc. Your road trip, coming
Yep.
back.
That's what I want to talk about.
Maybe your shout out to your friend Matt who drove you back.
Yeah. So if you're ready.
Okay, hello and welcome to the Nick, Josh, and Aaron Sports Talk Radio Show. Aaron is not here right now, but Nick and I are. And we're going to start off the show with some college basketball. There's 2 games in progress right now. Villanova is up about 10 on Wake Forest at the half. And Xavier is up 25 to 17 against Clemson. But Nick, you actually went to the Duke Marist game last week. That's why you weren't on the show last week. So you said you wanted to talk about that?
Yeah, no, that was a great experience. I figured, the final outcome was going to be what it was. It wasn't surprising. Duke 94, Marist 49, which wasn't surprising to me. But what was that there was a really great crowd for this game, even though, from the Duke standpoint, the opponent wasn't, from their perspective, wasn't deemed to be that, strong of an opponent. But it was their opening game. It was season opener for both
Duke
teams.
probably sells out for like almost every one of their games.
Oh, I'm sure, yeah.
No matter who they're playing.
Yeah, I guess, yeah, because they want to see their recruiting class, because Duke has one of the best recruiting classes in its history currently. So people wanted to see the team. They wanted to see how they would do first game of the season. So it was a great crowd. Cameron Indoor Stadium was rocking. The students were there. The student section was filled. And there's just a lot of energy and passion that they bring to the game, which is why the Crazies, I think, are one of the best fans in the whole sports.
If you compare to the Marist crowd, how would you say it differs from the intensity?
Oh, well, I mean, it's totally different because we're on a different level than Duke. Obviously, they're 5-time national champions and have one of the best coaches in college basketball history, coaching their team. So they got that going for them. They've achieved a lot. They're just a very historic program, a very historic school. So they have that we don't really, have. And unfortunately, our team's not that good, and we don't, invest that much into our athletics. So we're not at that same level that they're at right now. I have yet to game this season here, but I would say definitely you can't even compare the two.
I'm sure you'll be working one of them in the next couple of weeks.
Yeah, well, I'll just have to see what athletics wants me to do. I'm interning with Marist Athletics, so it's up to them if they want me to work the game. I'll be doing that if they want me to. So.
By the way, I'm Matt. Hi. I guess.
Yeah, we have a guest
Now,
here today to our show. Our friend Matt is joining our crew for today.
all right.
Welcome to our show.
It's a pleasure to be here. I haven't been on radio in a very long time.
Yeah, great to have you.
Yeah, nice to meet you guys too. So I have more questions about your Duke experience.
Sure, go for it.
Halftime, giveaways, etc., etc. Is it more of a? Is it more professionally run? Not saying Marist is not professionally run, but saying that is it more like an NBA type game, or the way it's run with halftime events and
Well, I would say probably. I would just say just because. I guess.
I'm not saying Marist is not professional or anything, nothing like that. But what we're saying is that is it more on par with what an NBA game experience? I should say this: is it more on par with an NBA game experience?
I think so, but I think a lot of that has to do with the environment too, because of where you are. You're at this, historic Cameron Indoor Stadium, this, legendary venue that's so historical. They obviously want to, live up to all that hype, so they make sure that whatever they put out there, during timeouts and half times, whatever that is, they want to make sure that's, top level talent they're sending out there. So I would say so, but it was really cool because this game specifically, it was a little bit different because the night before the game, on Thursday night, Duke and UNC had played their annual rivalry game in football, and that's a huge game because whoever wins that game gets bragging rights to what they call the Liberty Bell, which is this giant bell that they have on a cart, And the winner of that game has the bell for the year. They have bragging rights all over the Raleigh-Durham area and Chapel Hill area.
Who's held the bell the longest?
Well, what happened was the Duke football team, multiple players came out and they wheeled it out onto the court. So that was cool. They did that presentation at halftime. So that was cool to actually see that. Duke won. They beat UNC by a point. So there was a very, very exciting game the night before. Unfortunately, I wasn't there for that. Even though it was at Duke, it was a home game for them. But I mean, what a way to go about their season opening game, winning the Liberty Bell the day before in football, and then having their home opener. As a Blue Devils fan, I mean that's pretty much as good as it gets right there.
About your Blue Devils, what got you into Duke? What got you into wanting to become a Duke fan? And when you looked at colleges, was Duke ever on the list of colleges you want to go to?
Well, basically, my mom's cousin's been working at Duke pretty much as long as I've been aware, it's pretty much my whole life. So she's been working there at Duke. So, my sister went to Duke and is a Duke alum now. But even before my sister went there, I liked their school. I've seen photos of it, before we actually went out to visit. It's a beautiful campus. They got great athletic teams, one of the best coaches, like I've said, in Coach K. I think it's pretty cool that he actually started just down the road here. He started at Army West Point. That's where he began his career. And then Duke hired him, and then he's just been there ever since. So he's kind of got a local connection there, too, which I think is pretty neat.
Yeah, that's very true, very true.
Yeah, so I mean, and then my sister ended up going to school there, and I was like, wow, this is really awesome. So I just got so much more into it. My mom's cousin, she always give me presents for my birthday and Christmas. She always send me Duke gear and Duke things. So that was pretty, pretty awesome. So I think that's pretty much, how it started. And then when I really became, really got more into sports, that's when I really got into it. So.
Did you ever think about applying to Duke yourself, or you're like, I want to stay in the Northeast?
Well, I mean, I definitely looked at schools in the South because I love it down there. Duke, I got to see it, because my sister applied there when we visited multiple times. We visited her. They don't really have a sports comm program, so I didn't end up applying there. I didn't really have. I mean, I would love to go to school there. Don't get me wrong. If they had sports comm, I probably would have. But just because of that reason, they didn't have the area that I wanted to study. I didn't pursue it.
Right.
But I looked at other schools down there like Wake Forest. I checked that school out. Checked out Elon, which is another small school about 45 minutes west of Duke. In a small town, Burlington, North Carolina. It's on the way to Wake Forest, but it's a really good school. They have a good communications program there at Elon. And it's funny because we actually ended up playing them a couple of times in basketball a few years ago. We ended up hosting Elon and then visiting Elon, which I thought was funny because Marist and Elon were my top schools. So it was cool.
Happy you chose Marist.
Yeah, me too. I'm very happy here.
I wouldn't be able to met you.
I know, right? We wouldn't all be friends. I think about that. How much different my life would be if I went to a different school. But I'm happy I made the choice I did. Marist is a great school, and I love it here. So. I'm happy that it all worked out the way that it did, but
I'm happy that you're here.
Thank you, appreciate that.
No problem, Nick.
But no, yeah, that's just pretty much a little bit of the background about how I became such a big fan of Duke, and then when I set foot on campus, I was like, wow, this place is as amazing as it looks, so. And they have, like I said, Cameron Indoor Stadium. I've never seen a venue like that where they have, if you go all around the rotunda outside of where like the court is, they have a whole bunch of things. They like have people's retired jerseys. They have so many historic things there. They even have a museum from all of their sports teams. They have like artifacts from that. So I think that's really cool. And their court's named Coach K Court in honor of their coach, which is really awesome too.
Right. So going back to the game, at what point did you give Marist at least a chance of possibly winning? Like, was there like in the back of your mind, hey, if the Cubs can win the World Series, anything's possible?
I guess, yeah. I mean, honestly, I gave them all right, I got to be honest about this. I did give them a percentage, but it was very, very low. But I mean, it's always possible. Any team can be any team. Yeah, probably.
It's only 0.000001.
Maybe like a 2%, something like that. We're talking, but
Greater than 1%.
Yeah, no, right? But I figured, yeah, there's pretty much no way we're gonna go in there and beat this team. Not with the people that Duke has on their team right now. They have some really, really talented players and experienced players too. Like Emil Jefferson's returning, Grayson Allen. Matt Jones is returning, so they have some really good, older players on their team, but they also have a lot of youth coming into the recruiting class, and that creates a very balanced team if you combine the two. Because that's what a lot of teams are facing now in college basketball with this one-and-done era is they lose that senior leadership and experience. They start fresh from square one, like the Kentuckys of the world. They always are retooling, and they don't usually return players a lot, which I think hurts their chemistry in a way because they're all young and on the same page. They don't have those leaders to to set an example for them. Like a few years ago when they won their championship, they had a senior leader in Quinn Cook who was there for a long time, really basically guide that team as their point guard and lead them, which a lot of teams are missing a player like that, which he definitely helped them get that championship in 15. So I feel like that's what makes this Duke team so good as well, because they have older guys, but they also have younger players too coming in to balance it out. And they have a pretty decent bench too.
Right. What else?
So why do you think they lost a couple days ago to Kansas?
I mean, I watched that game. I didn't see it all in its entirety. I wasn't feeling well during that, but I did at least have it on TV. Kansas is really good. They're a really good team. Don't underestimate them. They're ranked for a reason, and Kansas is always a threat. I don't care how much talent they have on their team. They're always going to be a threat. I mean, any team with Bill Self coaching it is going to be a threat. I mean, he's going for his 13th straight Big 12 title. Think about that, 13 straight. And the Big 12 has other good basketball teams besides Kansas. So that when you're going for 13 straight, that really says something about you as a coach, you as a program. And that's part of the reason why they're always so good, is because they're able to get all the talented players because they want to play for Bill Self. They want to be a part of that, keeping that streak alive. Who wouldn't want to play for a Kansas of the world, So, that's the reason, too, is that they're very talented. I felt in certain parts Duke was a little sloppy. I noticed that the game looked to be a little chippy. There were a lot of fouls called in the game. I noticed that was a kind of a storyline. The announcers were saying that a lot of players for both teams racked up fouls early, and they had to go to the bench, and I felt like that definitely played a part in it too. But what a great game, and Kansas won on a last-minute shot, from what I can tell. But it was a great game between two really good teams, and I think teams that we're going to expect to make a deep run in this year's NCAA tournament in March.
Do you think Duke was deserving of being number one ranked team, even though they lost?
I think absolutely. With the recruiting class that they brought in, who would you say would be better than them? And then they returned players too. They didn't just bring in a good class. Like I said, they had players come back. They had the Neil Jeffersons, they had the Grayson Allens, they had the Matt Joneses. Those players come back to help them and guide their team, to help the younger players mature and really make sure that they're ready to make a deep run, in the tournament and through the season. So I think absolutely they were absolutely justified in getting that number one ranking. You just take a look at their roster on paper. They have really good players like Harry Giles, Jason Tatum, Marquise Bolden. Those are all really good players that they recruited. And then you have Chase Jeter, who's also really, really good. That's like 4 or 5 players right there right off the bat for you. And then you have those guys returning, especially those guys. They were on the last championship team as well. Grayson Allen had a huge part in that when he came off the bench and provided Duke a spark in order to, because they were down to Wisconsin in that game, and they had to come back in order to win. So that was huge. What he did. I think he was a freshman at the time. So when he did that as a freshman, think about how good they're going to be now when he's older. As a junior, more experienced player. So I think absolutely they were justified in getting that number one ranking. I don't know who else you could arguably put ahead of them, considering I think a lot of the other teams. Well, obviously you might make a case now because they beat Duke, but keep in mind that a lot of those players that I mentioned are currently dealing with injuries. So Duke's a little bit beat up right now. Because those guys I mentioned, Marcus Bolden, Harry Giles, and Jason Tatum, they didn't play because they're dealing with injuries right now. So Duke is a little short-handed. Not saying that that's giving them an excuse. I'm just saying that changes things up. It changes lineups. It changes what players play in certain situations. So. But like I said, Kansas is a really, really good, talented team. So kudos to them. They're a really good team.
All right. Well, it's just a taste of college basketball.
Actually, I have a question. If you want to see Marist play another top tier team, what team would you guys want it to be and why? I'll open the floor up to Josh.
Sure.
Who would you want to see Marist play?
Like someone on the level of Duke?
Yeah.
Well, they lose to any one of.
But still, they're here and it's a pretty big team, and we're the ESPN Sunday night game or whatever they have for basketball. ESPN.
To get a team of Duke's quality to come here.
We're playing hypothetical. It hypothetically happens. Who would you want to see?
Well, I would say UConn just because I'm from Connecticut and I'm a UConn fan. So I'd want to see like UConn come and play here, but that's never going to happen.
Nick?
Ooh, I mean that's really tough. I mean, I think that'd be really cool if we could play anybody, that has that national recognition like Duke does, like Kansas does. That'd be really cool. I mean, like I said, I'd settle for anybody like a UNC. That'd be really cool to see how we stack up against the runners-up from last year, against a team that has a coach that's been doing this a while, like Roy Williams, like Bill Self, like Coach K.
Right.
So any team like that, yeah, that'd be really cool. Just a side note here while we were talking about this. Turns out I was right. I just looked into this more. The game had a combined 48 team fouls and saw 9 players combine 4+ personal fouls. So that was just a very, stop and go kind of game. Players got into early foul trouble, so that's how I think that kind of affected the game a little bit there. But yeah, no, I mean anyone that Marist could play like that, a big name school, that'd be really cool. Even a Syracuse, I think that'd be really cool too, considering we're both New York schools. I'd like to see that matchup, just to see how we do against their zone. I mean, we'd probably get killed, but you never know. Stranger things have happened,
If the Cubs win the World Series and basically...
Because the Cubs were the best team.
Well, Cleveland was they were darn close. That went to extra innings. They could have easily have pulled it out.
Well,
Run here, run there,
If Donald Trump can win the presidency and the Cubs can win the World Series in the span of a week, I think anything's possible. Never give up on your dreams. And your hopes.
Yeah, I mean, that'd be really cool. I'd like to see us, I mean, I don't know if this ever happened, but us get in the tournament, and that'd be cool if we could have a rematch with Duke because, like I said, they're still without Marcus Bolden, Harry Giles, and Jason Tatum. They all have injuries, so Duke was beat up against Kansas. Or even a Duke-Kansas rematch in the tournament. That'd be great, too, to have them all there and healthy. That'd be great to see because the game was won in the last-minute shot by Frank Mason III for Kansas. So, what a great game. But, yeah, that'd be cool. I mean, Marist, Syracuse, that'd be really cool just because we're both New York schools. So, I'd like to see that. That'd be really cool.
Right.
And again, they have a coach in Jim Boeheim who's been around the game forever coaching them. So,
I got some breaking baseball news here.
oh, really? What's up?
All right. First of all, we have the Cubs claiming David Rollins off waivers from the Mariners. We have
Who?
He's a pitcher for the Mariners. But
I
however,
have no idea who that is.
yeah, he's like a scrub sort of. But I think big news coming out from the Twins territory is they outrighted today Trevor Plouffe, which means he's off the 40-man roster, making him in limbo on waivers. So once we get to our baseball section, I'll discuss a little possible scenario I see.
We could talk about baseball now, I guess. Since you brought
Or do you want to talk about other college basketball because other teams are playing? Whatever.
It's college basketball has only had 1 week. There's not that much to talk about. We really don't know that much about any of these teams. Like I do not know that much about any of the college basketball teams right now.
We'll just give you a score update. Villanova's up 55-41 with 17:57 to go in the second half over Wake Forest. Clemson trails Xavier 32-41 the half. But yeah, you're right. No, it's still early. Monmouth goes to Syracuse. That'll be interesting because Monmouth, remember, they were kind of the Cinderella team last year. They knocked off Notre Dame, USC, right? They beat some pretty good teams, Georgetown. So that'll be interesting to see how it plays out. And they go to visit UNC, so they get a chance to play big name schools again. So, but yeah, you're right. Season's young. We still have a lot to figure out. But yeah, if you guys want to go over to baseball.
All right.
Switch segments.
This is my forte, my friends.
Go for it, yeah, by all means.
All right. So as we all know, the baseball offseason is well among us with a flurry of signings this week. The Braves signed 2 former pitchers in R.A. Dickey and Bartolo Colon, who I'm extremely sad to see go, but I wish him nothing but the best against the Braves, and when he plays against the Mets, hope we beat him, but knowing the Mets, they probably won't. So yeah, as I was saying, Trevor Plouffe is now been outrighted by the Minnesota Twins. And there's been rumors in the Yankee world where Josh is a big fan of, Mr. Yankee fan over here, where Chase Headley may be on the move. Now, Trevor Plouffe.
Is Trevor Plouffe really that much of an upgrade, though? Like, he wasn't that good last year.
I mean, he's younger than Chase Headley, I think.
Yeah, I guess. I don't know. I have to see his stats from last year. I just assume everyone on the Twins was horrible last year.
Were you guys surprised by the awards? Chris Bryant
No.
got the NL MVP award. Mike Trout wins AL MVP.
I was surprised. Actually, I was very surprised that Justin Upton received an even. I'll be honest. Like, just when I was thinking of dominant American League pitchers this year, Justin Verlander. Yeah, he was 16-9. Yeah, like right, Justin Verlander to come to your mind when you think of dominant American League pitchers this year.
Yeah, no, not really. He wasn't. I didn't think he was that good to be in consideration for the Cy Young.
It's more. I think it's more a popularity contest, maybe.
Probably, but yeah, like Bryant and Trout obviously didn't surprise me.
Well, all the national fans were upset because they thought Daniel Murphy should have won, and I'm very happy he didn't win.
Wow.
Biases. I mean, well, that's my personal.
Cubs were also the team that won the World Series. So.
Yes, and however, Mike Trout is the first player since 2003 to win MVP on a losing team. Can one of you name the player who was the last player to win MVP on a losing player team? Who was the last player?
Cal Ripken Jr.
No.
I thought I heard that on SportsCenter.
The last player, Alex Rodriguez, 2003, Texas Rangers, American League MVP.
Yeah. Didn't Cal Ripken Jr. do it though? Or he was something. That might have been the last person to win the World Series MVP. And,
yeah, I think that was it.
Oh wait, no, that was Zobrist. Never mind. I don't know. It was something. I heard his name on something. But yeah, so Trevor Plouffe only hit 260 with 12 home runs and 47 RBIs, and he's 30 years old.
And compared to Chase Headley, who.
And let's see. So I don't think that's really much of an upgrade. Chase Headley. Let's see. All right, Headley hit 251, so 9 points lower. But he had 2 more home runs and 4 more RBIs.
So basically the same as that player.
Yeah.
I was gonna think that could work out for you guys. I don't know, minor league contract maybe, who knows. But going into this off season, let me just ask you, what are some? I'll talk about my Mets after you address your Yankees issues. What are some needs the Yankees you feel need to address, and have they already addressed it? Because last night, around 5 p.m., they traded former Yankee Brian McCann to the Houston Astros for 2 pitching prospects.
Yeah, that was the first move they needed to decide. We've been talking about this on past shows, that the Yankees offseason really starts with making a decision on Brian McCann, whether they wanted to keep him or trade him. And Cashman decided to trade him. Really don't know that much about the 2 prospects they got back. I heard one of them can throw like 100 miles an hour, but
one of them is projected to be a starter, and one of them is projected to be a long man / closer.
All right. Yeah.
I guess you're putting another over with Chapman in the belly.
Well, that's Cashman's new strategy, is to basically stockpile minor leaguers, hoping that. So McCann, I mean, I like McCann as a player, as a person in the clubhouse, but he really wasn't going to get that playing time. And the Yankees are, with all the moves they made last year, they're just continually trying to get younger. So Brian McCann was just a victim of those circumstances, I guess.
Right.
But yeah, now once they made that decision, now they can move forward with other areas of need. They definitely need a lot more pitching if they want to compete this year. They need 1 or 2 more starters and probably 3 or so bullpen arms, because when Miller and Chapman left, you really saw how bad, not really bad, but how unreliable, I guess, inconsistent the Yankees bullpen could be. I mean, Clippard and Warren did what they could, but
for every Clippard and Warren, you had James Passoses and Yates and the Blake Parkers.
The middle relief struggles a lot, and when you take out like guys like Chapman and Miller, it pushes everyone back. Like your good middle relievers now have to be good late game relievers. So now you're asking your bad players to then jump into that middle relief role, and that really didn't work out that well for them.
If you're going to work on, I think the other issue you guys have to address is your starting pitching.
Yeah, no, starting pitching too.
I think before anything, I think you guys need to get like. This is just my observation of the team. Evaldi is going to be out for the year. That's one down. Sabathia you can't count on for much. Put it nicely. The only consistent one I see is Tanaka. I do see you trading for a pitcher. I do see you getting a free agent pitcher. I mean, what's out there? I mean, Jason Hamill.
Well, just to interject here, I'm reading a report here saying that they're seriously looking at big free agent bats, like Carlos Beltran and Edward Encarnacion are said to be among their top targets. But that'd be interesting if Beltran, because they shipped him out earlier this season, so how ironic would that be if he came back,
I don't think they need like another permanent DH though.
They got rid of this is the way they're doing. They're not getting grandpas anymore. There's gonna be no more grandpas on the Yankees, which is the way I see it because it's the youth movement.
So they're not gonna get Grandpa Ross out of retirement.
No, I mean the thing is like what to me it makes no sense if they were going to get rid of Beltran because they want to go forward and be young. Then they should.
Well, it says the McCann trade cleared up $11.5 million in payroll. So.
Well, they're paying half that money is going to the Astros to pay them to play another team.
So they're clearly going after, I think, people that are going to be looking for big contracts. I guess.
Johan Cespedes just have him.
That's been rumored that he's going to come to the Yankees.
Have him, you can order your Cespedes shirts in front of me, and I'll just sort of sit there and be like, whatever. So being a Mets fan, you learn how to deal with
what's to say he's going to leave the Mets? We thought last year he might, and he didn't. He came back, right?
He's going to leave the Mets. I've been watching this team for over 16 years.
Well, I mean,
you get a feeling when things are going to you just know because it's I don't know. It's just like you watch them and, for example, I'll say this, like last year when they lost the World Series after inside the park home run game 1, I knew they were going to lose the World Series. I just like, yeah, this is going to be it. It's just after you watch it, it's like you do something for a long time and you just sort of know when things are just not going to end up that way. I mean, I'll be honest, I'd rather come sign with you guys than anybody in the NL East.
Well, yeah, because, as a Mets fan, you'd hate to see him, do a Daniel Murphy and go to the Nationals, your arch rivals of all people.
Knowing the way that, the baseball level of the Mets is.
But the thing is that why don't you think he would come back? Do you think the Mets would just let him walk like that? But he provided he was a good offensive player for them. I mean, he did.
The Mets are cheap.
He's
The
one of
Mets are cheap. They're not going to want to pay it. They're going to say we have lots of money, but they're not going to want to pay him.
I don't know if I want to deal with Cespedes off the field though.
But
because things like he's not the best guy in the clubhouse, and there was all those things about how he was injured too much to play baseball, but he'd still go golfing every day, and all that, those firestorms that were created. So I'm not sure if he's the type of person that I would want to sign.
They could potentially, or in my opinion, they could have. They could. I mean, honestly, I could see. This is what I see you guys going after, and this is just my opinion. I see you guys going after Jason Hamill.
Okay.
For pitching.
Well, yeah, they need a starter. You say so Tanaka is definitely their ace. Evaldi's done virtually the entire year because of Tommy John. Then you got Pineda and Sabathia, who are probably your 4 and 5 starters in rotation. Severino, hopefully he can get back to being a starter, but who knows? He might only be good in the bullpen now. So they need at least 2 more starters.
I'll be honest,
to slot in behind.
This is what I see. I see, or who's a free agent this year? Justin Turner, Yankees. If you guys ever chase that league, get Justin Turner 3rd.
Well, what about?
You could do that. Yeah, that's actually a player I'd be interested in because he's younger.
Give Justin Turner
he's had a lot of productive seasons.
I'll tell you, former Yankee Mark Melanson, Ian Desmond, he's shortstop. He's played third in his career before. He's a pretty good infielder, naturally. Chapman, obviously. Kenley Jansen.
I was gonna bring up Chapman. Yeah.
I mean,
they're already in discussions with Chapman though, so that's
Yeah,
that's probably
the
already
only thing-
a done
the
deal.
only thing-
They already started those like a week or so ago. You're right after the World Series.
the only thing that I will say against you re-signing Chapman is that he just won the World Series with the Cubs, and you may want to stay there to win another ring.
I mean, but he could be a very big money dealer. So,
Yeah,
he could want more money.
Could we pay him more than the Cubs? That's the question. Yeah, he'll probably be a.
No doubt. The
Yeah.
Yankees can pay him more than the
The-
Cubs.
Yeah.
No doubt.
So then there you go. Then he did. That's a good point. Yes, he could stay, but depends on what he's looking for. Is he looking for the ring, or is he looking for more money? I
I'm
guess
going with,
that's what you have to ask. I guess.
it's very hard because
Yeah.
his attitude.
Well, don't you get more money by winning the World Series? Like, don't you?
The thing with people like this is like you can't really tell their attitude because some of these players, yes, they want the money, but then the World Series ring is more important.
Yeah, depends on if they can continue, if the Cubs continue to keep the staff the way they have it, then they'll have a better shot of winning the World Series than the Yankees do, no doubt about that. I don't even think the Yankees are going to be a contender next year, unless they get a strong DH to replace, or somebody that's also a slash position player. So
you guys could go at, as I say, Cespedes. You have him.
Yeah.
I mean, unless you guys are waiting for the big year in 2019 to go after Harper.
That's what I heard. Yeah, they're gonna.
Harvey, Steven Strasburg.
I mean, even Trout might.
Well, there's been rumors
of
that
Trout already.
There's been rumors that the reason why this rebuilding of the farm system is per se happening is that you guys are going to use these pieces to acquire one Michael Trout from the Los Angeles Anaheim, who, in my opinion, is one of the. They honestly have the worst farm system in baseball. I think they're definitely ranked 30th.
The Angels.
They have nobody.
Yeah, I mean, and the Yankees now have one of the strongest because of who they acquired through trades and everything.
Your farm system originally was ranked number 18 at the beginning of the year, and it's now in the top 10 at number 7.
Yeah, so it's incredible. I mean, they have a now even more in depth now that they got 2 pitching prospects now from that.
Now,
deal
would you be willing? What would make you happy? Would you want to get these prospects, or would you be willing to trade them for Mike Trout? And I offer this question to all the Yankee fans in this room, and I'm not one of them, but we have 2 and 2.5. But Dobies, who's a fan of every sport. But Nick.
Yep.
We'll start.
Go ahead.
Okay. Yeah, I dumped it. I dumped the farm system and get Trout. I mean, the problem is though we have kind of already have like this pretty solid outfield. So,
but then you got to trade. Trade Gardner and you get Trout. The reason why I agree with you is, and the only reason why I agree with you is, your thing makes sense because the prospects you never know what you could get.
Yeah.
Like it could be really good, or really, really, really stinky.
And for all we know, they could be number 1 going into the farm system, but then they do horrible in the farm system.
For example, for every Mike Trout, there's a Fernando Martinez.
Exactly. So we just don't know. You can't. At least you know Trout is like an MVP.
Established.
He's absolutely like one of the best players in baseball, and he's still young. The
thing is, you can't always hit for example, the Mets hit the jackpot with Max Scherzer, Harvey, Strasburg. They're pitching. The Mets literally there's this 1 in a billion chance of them having good pitching prospects. The issue is that they're not healthy. But that's another topic. But your argument does make sense because I would honestly, if I were the Yankees, I would trade for Mike Trout right now.
Oh yeah, no doubt.
If I had a statement.
Yeah, if they could, I would. I mean, if they could trade get him right now, I would.
Nikolas Dobies.
Absolutely, I agree with that because I feel like with the farm system, you're taking a big risk because it could either be really good or it could be really bad. And that's something I feel like the Yankees can't afford to be much longer because I feel like. I mean, I don't know about you guys, but I think just the fans in general are losing a lot of patience with this team about not, competing in the playoffs.
I will say, from an outside perspective, as a Met fan, your fan base has been very spoiled.
Yeah. I mean, the problem is, Mets are now actually the better team in New York at this point because they've made the playoffs a little more, currently.
We made it 1 and 1.5.
Yeah.
If you count the wild card game.
But I mean,
Well, that cancels out with the Yankees
wild card. Yeah, that we had against Houston.
But I will say, just from a Mets fan perspective, is that not all Yankee fans, but a lot of you guys complain about not making the postseason, I made the World Series, yada yada yada. You guys have won
7 titles. Yeah.
titles.
Yeah.
Over, I think 41 pennants.
Yeah.
42, something like that.
Yeah.
Over 20, I think division titles. I can't even go off the top of my head because it's so many. Like, the thing is, like, you guys are going to be there, and I don't think Yankee fans are upset because I will say they are upset at the beginning of last year.
Yeah.
But once Cashman made those deals with Miller and Chapman, and you saw he got Breck, I think Yankee fans are a lot happier, especially after the production from your prospects, Aaron Judge,
Oh yeah.
Rob Renschneider,
Gary Sanchez.
and Gary Sanchez, who's probably your best player.
And Greg Bird.
And remember, Gary Sanchez, he was looked down upon 2.5 years ago because he wasn't doing great at all in Double A. But then he worked on his game and he became really good.
Absolutely.
So you got
Yeah.
that's the other thing too. These prospects sometimes take time to pan out because they're gonna probably. I heard a rumor that they were gonna trade him a couple years ago because he was like Manny. I don't know if you guys remember Manny Benuelos.
Yeah, him and Betances are supposed to be like the best pitchers in their system. And Betances worked out, but then Benuelos is now on the Braves.
Actually, no. But Manny, actually, no. I think he's still. I'm not sure. I think that's his first time.
Oh, well, he was on the Braves last year.
I think the last place I saw him, I think he's playing the Mexicans.
Summer League.
Well,
Fall
winter.
League.
Josh will look it up for us.
Yeah.
I'll show
All
you.
right.
Usually the way it goes is that I think it's major leagues, and then after that, like the ranking order of like, oh god, my career's ending.
Yeah.
So it's major leagues right here. That's
Yeah.
top.
No, absolutely.
And after that, is it going abroad to Japan and China, Mexico,
Well,
or independently?
He's on the Angels right now.
I think if you hit Japan, like you have a shot. Because
So that's the next step for major leagues.
Japan's next step, then it's like I think independent league, and then after independent league, if you go to Mexico, I mean, you're kind of done.
Well, it's amazing the Long Island Ducks.
I mean, yeah, the Long Island Ducks are bringing
And
up.
also the
Bridgeport Bluefish, man.
you guys have there's a lot of former players who play there,
Absolutely.
including my New Jersey Jackals. By me, like we find all these guys are washed up.
Yeah.
And
Tri-City Valley Cats for me.
Yeah. Try
That's
to do that.
mine.
I don't even think we've played the Bluefish have ever played.
I don't think the
Tri-
Bluefish are. I think you guys are different. We're in the
Yeah,
Canadian
we're
American League.
because the Bluefish are in the independent Atlantic.
I was surprised.
division.
I'm always surprised you guys are not in the Can-Am League because to me it makes honestly.
They honestly seem more like a Can-Am.
I'll be
team.
honest. To me,
Yeah.
it seems so stupid that the Jackals have to go to Quebec every week.
Oh, that's crazy. Yeah, I mean, like at least like the Bluefish only got to go like Pennsylvania on occasion. And, like
There is
Maryland,
one team
I think.
in Texas though in the Bluefish League.
Oh yeah, the Sugarland Skeeters.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the only
So just
big
randomly
problem.
have to go to Texas.
Yeah,
I don't know,
that's
like
the-
whoever designed these divisions in independent baseball needs to like restructure it.
But I mean,
I think
I think they're just foreign.
They need a new CBA agreement.
Yeah, the new CBA agreement. Oh, that would be priceless. Yeah. I mean,
I guess just to get back to what we were talking about on the Trout thing, I guess I will give since you were all in agreement, I will give the other argument.
the devil's advocate.
Yeah.
Yep.
About I think they should keep their prospects because yes, it's not a guarantee that their prospects will turn out to be good players. Because it is sort of like a lottery, as you were saying. But I think that a lot of them will turn out, maybe not to be on the Mike Trout level, but I think a lot of them will turn out to be like good, serviceable major league players.
I'm going to say I think Clint Frazier is projected to be a Brett Gardner type player.
Yeah, because if you're trading for Mike Trout, you're gonna have to give up anyone who's relatively seen as somewhat good. So I think that having like 5 or 6 like good players is better than having one great player and then like a bunch of like bad players. Because
the Angels. Yeah.
Yeah, like that's the thing. The
Yeah.
Angels, just look at the team he's on now. They're horrible.
Yeah.
They have the best player in the league, and
they're
they're
laying
the
down
worst team.
Yeah, and they're dumping a lot of money into Trout's contract, and they're.
I also have the Pools contract.
They
cannot.
tried to give big money contracts to players who were like in their 30s, like Pujols, like Josh Hamilton, like C.J. Wilson, and it's gotten them to like the worst team in the American League.
And one of those guys is already retired.
Yeah.
So I think the Yankees, this is sort of like a new phase for them. I think they have to hold on to these prospects that they've got and just see where they go. Because when you think about it, when the Yankees were at their best in the late '90s, winning all those World Series, their core was young players.
That is true.
They had Jeter, Rivera, Posada, Bernie. A lot of young players, and then they just got a couple of free agents or trades here and there to fill in the gaps they needed.
Yeah, and those core 4 guys were almost all of them were from the system, and they didn't play for anybody else but the Yankees. And so there's definitely that side. For all we know, those guys right now in the minors could be the next core 4, but.
Or even we're seeing it right now with with Sanchez, Refschneider, exactly. So maybe we've already started to see it.
It's tough to determine at this point because it's so early. That's the thing, and I don't want to I don't think the Yankees either want to rush to any conclusions yet and think, okay, one season's gonna change. One season's it's gonna assume so many things.
You guys generally had a very easy transition to the second half last year. You guys were legitimately back in it for a few.
We almost came back and made a wild card.
I was saying if you guys still had that bullpen, you guys could probably make the playoffs.
Yeah, that's what I think. We could have made the playoffs, but I don't know how far we get in the playoffs. If we made the wild card game, we won the wild card game. I don't know how far we get in the division playoffs.
Well, I don't know, that's hard to say though, because if they hadn't have made those trades, then well,
no,
but then they still would have had Beltran on their team, and they probably still would have kept A-Rod then, and Judge and got Judge, Austin, maybe even Sanchez might not have had that much playing time, and those he led he was the reason why they were winning for the most part.
Yeah, that's the.
You had many home runs he does. That was incredible, right? That was. How about you guys? I didn't see that coming though.
No, I didn't see that either. I didn't see,
unbelievable.
I didn't see that occurring. I didn't know that Gary Sanchez would be that good. But the problem is, that was such a short span of time. It's we haven't seen him play a full season yet, and we have.
Short,
that's the thing, and we don't know yet.
Pitchers will make adjustments, and then he'll have to adjust to that too.
Yeah.
Yep.
But as he was red hot. That's just not.
You mean Gary Sanchez?
Yeah. No.
Yeah, he was on fire. He just came out of the gates
Gary
and just
Sanchez helped me
unbelievable.
Second place. Actually, no, sorry. Help me help me get to third place in my fantasy league this year and win third place.
There you go.
Wow.
As good as he was, that's not. I don't think that's only gonna last for a couple months. He'll have his struggles. He'll go through slumps, but there's way too much talent there for him to.
There's
not be productive for an entire season.
Yeah.
So I think in terms of trading for someone,
I wouldn't trade Judge. I know that, or I wouldn't
well,
trade
that's the thing.
or Sanchez.
They probably they'd say they were to trade for Trout, the Angels would ask for Sanchez.
That's the problem.
Even if the Yankees made Sanchez untouchable, then they would have to give Judge,
Sheffield,
and Bird,
a combination of players, right?
Yeah. And then those guys,
Snyder,
and
some of the young pitchers they got in trades
and cash.
Yeah.
Torres, the main piece they got back for Chapman.
So they'd be giving up way too much for little, right?
I think the only good time to trade a handful of your best prospects for one player is at the trade deadline, and you already know you have a team that's capable of winning the World Series, and you're just looking for that one piece to get you over the top.
Yeah, that's what I would say.
I don't think you can trade all these guys in the off season when you don't know what your team is going to be.
Absolutely.
I think you should only do those types of trades at the trade deadline when you have a sense of how good your team is, and for only one player, that the one position you still need to fill.
Yeah, absolutely. There's no doubt that I would do it when I know that my team's a contender. I would not do it when I during the off season when I don't know. I'm still building a staff. I'm still building a team for the next year, and I don't know how that's gonna play out. I would do it definitely when I'm in middle of the season or when I'm on a hot streak, and I know that I'm at least guaranteed a playoff berth. Once I guaranteed a playoff berth, then I can start maybe throwing. That's what the Mets did with Cespedes, which did them so well. Getting them to the World Series. So if I would play like what the Mets did with Cespedes, if I was going to do something with Trout, wait all the way to the point where okay, we're going to make the playoffs. We're going to be a really good team. We just need that one piece to get us forward, and it worked well for the Mets until the end. But that would do the same exact thing.
I agree because the more players you have and the more players you trade or take onto your team. I mean, it's hard to figure out the chemistry, right? The team chemistry.
Absolutely.
Whereas if you just have one player, maybe two tops, it's a lot easier to fit them in to try to get you to over that hump to get into contending for that World Series title.
Exactly. So we just don't that's the thing. You don't want to predict anything early, and that's why you have a war room, in sports, and you have the big board up there, and you're just all right. We have these guys we have these in our system, and we have these in somewhere else, and then we're just where's that piece that's got to miss? And that's why you have all the scouts determining this stuff too. That's why you have this baseball operations staff. That's exactly what I don't want to get into it for a career field, but that's a different story.
Well,
but
let's just say hypothetically, they do the Trout trade,
okay,
and they have Trout.
yeah,
Okay, yes, it makes your team right then and there better. Your offense better.
yeah,
I don't think anyone would debate that.
yeah, no doubt.
Because he is the best hitter in the league right now.
Mm-hmm.
But it sets your farm system way back to
where it was
before the season started, when it was one of the worst in baseball.
Yeah.
And it's Trout would make your lineup better, yes, but it doesn't improve the biggest weakness on your team.
Yeah.
They need pitching first and foremost.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Both starters and relievers.
And
that's the first area they need to address.
I'm not gonna say that if Trout, if somehow Trout becomes available and the thing is he's probably not gonna be available in that season. You're gonna have to wait probably another year or so, and by then the Yankees. They might have a first baseman set up with Greg Bird. They might have a DH by then. But the thing is, it's we're predicting so early here. It's we don't even know if Trout might re-sign for all we know for the Angels. And the Angels remain terrible, but I doubt that. But it's so early to tell. And I don't know what the Yankees are thinking right now. I don't know what they're. We don't know.
I think you have to spend this upcoming year, and you have to stay with these young kids and just see what you have.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I'd let this year play out. Don't do anything yet with these kids. Let them play. Analyze the season, analyze their progress, and if you see something that sparks an interest or something that maybe you don't have to dump so much out of the pot to get that person, then maybe go for it, especially if it's a pitcher. If it's a pitcher, go for it. But I wouldn't dump the entire pot.
No, I agree. I would say it's very early. Let things play out, see how it goes.
Yeah.
Give them some time to, like I said, form that team chemistry before they make any big moves. So I would say it's probably the best situation.
The biggest advantage of a team like the Yankees, a team with money, is that
And prospects.
Yeah.
Well, no, just with money, is that you can do your business on the free agent market instead of having to do it through trades.
Yeah.
Because on free agents, it's just money. You're not losing players.
Yep.
So you can, if you're a team with the Yankees, you can just spend as much on however many free agents you want to, and add them to these young players that you don't have to trade away.
Mm-hmm.
Any team could get any good player. But a lot of the lesser market teams would have to do that through trades.
Yeah.
And that's the advantage that money gives you, is not having to address your weaknesses through trades.
Yeah, let's just remind our viewers what we're discussing on Facebook Live.
Yeah.
Because I guess one of them's commenting they have no idea what we're talking about. We're talking about the Yankees' future going forward, and pretty much if in a scenario of there's a very good player named Mike Trout who plays for the Anaheim Angels, for those who don't know. That we're discussing if the Yankees do go forward. There's rumors that the Yankees are going after him. So just a refresher, like what the Yankees would do in that scenario, and either would they dump prospects or just ignore it and wait to see how it plays. So that's what we're discussing for my viewers on Facebook Live, and maybe for those on yours who don't know what we're talking about.
Exactly, and to expand on that, we're talking about like free agency in general. What, yeah. But then we're kind of relaying it back to the Yankees since we're all fans of the Yankees or our New York team. So.
Welcome.
Yeah, so definitely send us your comments, your feedback, anything you want us to talk about. I would greatly appreciate it for you to just send us that information.
Yeah.
Throughout any point during our show.
Yep.
So yeah, I guess if there's any other points you guys want to address about the free agent market or anything in general, I
think it's crazy.
Yeah.
The one thing though is that we gotta look at the teams that aren't going to do anything too. I mean, like the Cubs aren't going to do.
They want to keep that intact, right? They want to keep that core intact.
Keep that ship stable.
Yeah.
And if they're going to keep that ship stable, they're not going to get rid of anybody.
No.
Really, Chris Bryant just won the MVP. I mean, for the National League. So there you go.
I bet they probably want to keep Chapman too, right? Because he was.
That's
important.
The thing where I don't know. I mean,
I think the only David Ross retired, and Jason Hamill would be like a good pitcher, but he wasn't a part of their four-man rotation in the playoffs.
Yeah, he wasn't.
The only two, I think I might be wrong, but the only two players who are like legitimately everyday contributors to their World Series team that are free agents right now are Chapman and Dexter Fowler.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. Is Fowler would be the only other.
So it's really only two guys that they would have to worry about re-signing if they so choose to go down that
route. And to be honest with you, Chapman did not do that well in the World Series. You kind of blew a few games. He almost blew a few games during the World Series.
Even Game 7, right?
He gave up runs in like the one game. Yeah. I mean overall, also because they were using him a lot.
Yeah, that's the thing.
They used him every single
They
game.
overused him. See, the Yankees did, I think, one of the better jobs of handling Chapman. They didn't put him in. That's why when you have a two-man system, like when you have a great finishing,
they had a three-man system.
Yeah, three-man system. Tansis, Miller, and Chapman. They could rest Chapman. They could rest Miller and still be okay.
Well, yeah, any one of the three of them could close.
Exactly.
Any one of the three could set up.
Yeah.
They could all get anyone out. Like you didn't have to match up lefty righty.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, so I think like that would be like the next for the Yankees at least offseason wise. That would be the next person I would try to get.
Yeah.
Forget about any hitter right now. I would say just try and focus on getting Chapman, and if you can't get Chapman, then get like Kenley Jansen or get another like legitimate closing stud at the end of the bullpen that you can then pair with Betances again. Because Betances on his own kind of struggled in like the last month of the season. Warren and Clipper did what they could, but they're more middle relief because the Yankees have 0 middle relievers right now that are anywhere near good. So if you can keep Clippard and Warren, but move them back into middle relief and bring in a free agent to put at the end of your bullpen with Betances, then I think that's the next move that they need to make.
Absolutely.
I heard also, too, a rumor while we're talking about future options here that Bryce Harper will eventually end up with them. I guess that could potentially happen. Do you guys see that?
Well,
that's in what, 2017?
They showed Harper is
2019. That's what I thought. Yeah, 19. Yeah.
Harper is they don't want another A-Rod ego on their hands. They got rid of one. They got rid of one problem.
Yeah, it's just the off-field issues, right, with that.
No, it's not even
no,
that.
It's not. He's like his personality in the dugout. He's not.
He's not a great team. He's not been known to be a great team player.
He's not with the Yankees. Like, I mean, honestly, could you make him shave his beard? I mean, like, or get a haircut?
I think $200 million would be a pretty good reason.
That'd be a good incentive.
But I wouldn't say because I agree with Aaron. Like, his ego is way too big.
Yeah, and
too much trouble for them for their.
If he goes to sign, he knew like, okay, I have to like.
Yeah, I mean, the thing with the Yankees want to like. The thing is though, like, all right, would you rather get a Mike Trout or a Bryce Harper? I'd rather get probably a Mike Trout.
Well, see, there's reasons for both because I like just from a player standpoint, I would want Mike Trout.
Yeah.
Because I think a slightly better player overall, not just hitter, but defensively as well, and speed wise, and he's a better person in the clubhouse. But if you logistically think about how they would have to go about getting those two,
It'd be easier.
I would rather go and get Harper because it's just money they're giving up and not the players.
Yeah, that's
Yeah, because the Angels are going to want a lot more, right, in return, right, for Trout.
The Angels need people more than the Nationals do. Because the Nationals are always a playoff contender every year.
Yeah.
So it's so early. I mean, we got 2 years for all we know. Things have changed, and Bryce Harper might re-sign with the Nationals. I don't know.
What wasn't like his favorite player, like Mickey Mantle or something, and his dream was always to play for the Yankees?
Oh, really? I did not know that. Well, that could change things.
Yeah.
That can make it more.
Stay tuned for that potential saga, in a year or two.
When we're not on this show anymore, doing 2 years from now or 3 years from now, give us a shout. We'll give you a word.
We'll reference this conversation.
We might have a show somewhere, just not at Marist anymore.
Yeah.
That's true too.
That's absolutely true, yeah. You might even be with the team. You might be with the Yankees, and you never know. Any of us could be. I mean,
yes, phone call. Yeah.
Exactly, yeah. But yeah, we'll have to reference this conversation specifically. Do you remember back right before Thanksgiving? Our radio show. Exactly, yeah. Yep. Yeah, it's just each year, I guess, this has the free agency. Has like this craziness around it. Where there's a lot of speculation. About big players, whether they stay, where they go, where do they go if they don't stay. So
absolutely,
there's still a lot to be worked out, a lot to be resolved. There's a lot of time, obviously between now and when things pick up for spring training again next year. So
you got a long way to go.
Yeah, that'll be interesting to see. We'll see what happens.
We haven't even had the winter meetings
free agents.
Yet.
Yeah, exactly.
It's still very early.
Very early.
Very early.
Exactly. So I guess if you guys have any more comments about free agency, or you guys want to do a transition here to
where are we going into next?
Maybe football, because we're getting.
Yeah, we're getting towards. We don't do breaks.
You guys have breaks?
Well, we can if we pause the.
Well, we're on Facebook Live though, and
yeah.
You can't non-stop sports talk on WFA, WMAR, Marist Radio.
Pretty much. Yeah. Because it is 3:16. We got about 45 minutes left on our show.
All right.
You want to do
just
football?
Yeah.
See how much time we have after this.
Yeah, let's go right to football. Let's do our picks. How are we doing in our picks, by the way?
Well, I wasn't here last week, but
I didn't check it, but just off the top of my head, from memory, I think you actually did really well.
Oh, thanks.
So I think in the games that we differed, like your teams won. Like
awesome.
like the Rams beat the Jets, so you won there.
Fantastic.
The Chiefs beat the Panthers.
You guys do points,
so you won
do
there.
who wins?
Points, yeah, we do points.
And then the Dolphins beat the Chargers. So yeah, the 3 games we differed, and you won all 3 of them.
I am on
What
fire.
are the rankings for your hat? This? I'm
Um,
guessing Aaron's in first, Josh you're in second, and Dobie's in third.
I haven't actually added up.
well, I missed a week, so I don't know
Well,
how
I
you
missed a
calculated
week,
it.
too.
Yeah.
Each of them missed a week. So if you
If anything, you're really in the lead.
Yeah.
Well-
if you include the weeks they missed and give them each 0 for those, then I would probably be winning.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's call their bye week.
Yeah, got our bye week.
Yep.
Alright, so yeah, I will bring up the
NFL.
Do you guys want to talk college football real quick too? Because there's a lot of craziness going on here.
Well, Louisville just got
they got
blown
destroyed.
out by Houston.
Yeah, and they're ranked number 5. They're hoping to make it in, but
yeah,
they could forget about that,
yeah,
right?
There goes their chances, especially against an unranked Houston team right now.
I know, right? At 36-10, like it wasn't just that was a blowout. Like that was legit, not even close. Yeah. What do you think about that week though? Where like 4 of the top 5 teams lost in the same. Because Clemson went down, right? Michigan went down. Washington finally lost a game. Like that's insane, right? Like all these teams.
My theory on that is so much happens, nothing really happens. Because like all the teams lost, so it didn't really change anything.
Yeah.
Like they all just stayed where they were.
Yeah,
like,
that's the
thing.
thing.
No one moved ahead of anyone else really.
Yeah, I mean that's the thing though. It's
Well, Clemson dropped from 2, right, to being 4, right?
Yeah, Clemson, but that means they still make the playoffs.
Yeah, no, they're still in.
I mean,
Yeah, no, but
yeah.
it's just who they play difference, differentiates.
And Alabama's probably still going to be number 1.
Even if they lose, right?
Oh yeah, Alabama's definitely number 1.
Yeah.
I mean,
still gonna be
there's
number
not that many like good games this weekend in terms of like the top teams. Because like Ohio State has Michigan State, so that's going to be a win, or should be at least. Michigan has Indiana. Clemson has
The
Wake
Indiana-
Forest.
They're going to Wake Forest, yeah.
Wait, who has Wake Forest?
Clemson.
Yeah, they're going to Wake
that's a
Forest.
blowout. Yeah, I forget about that.
Yep.
The only good game in terms of two quality teams for them. I mean, Florida's doing the makeup against LSU, but okay.
Florida's not that great anymore.
It's 9 Oklahoma against 14 West Virginia.
Okay.
I mean, yeah, they're two good teams,
but they're not
going to
make the playoffs.
teams, but neither of them have a shot at making the playoffs.
Yeah.
Not against those other teams that are already in.
Yeah. Bowl game that the Fiesta Bowl is on.
Yeah.
So this isn't the strongest week for college. That's next week when all the big rivalry games.
Of course, yeah.
The days after Thanksgiving are always the best time for college football.
Oh yeah.
Because you have Alabama against Auburn. You have the huge Michigan against Ohio State game.
Yeah, that's gonna be a big game.
Well, this year, that's gonna have big implications.
Yeah.
With both teams hoping to get one of the top seeds in
if
top
there's
4.
anything to watch for an upset for, keep a track on Indiana, because Indiana plays really good football. Sometimes when they play against a Big Ten rival like Michigan, so just be careful about that.
It's in Michigan, though.
Oh, it's in Michigan.
So last week Indiana just lost to Penn State 45-31.
Yeah.
Penn State's going to try to sneak in here.
They lost to Ohio State earlier in the year 38-17.
Yeah. Indiana last season got really close to beating Ohio State, I think, last year in Indiana, or they beat Ohio State in Indiana.
They beat Ohio State last year.
Yeah.
They could.
You never know. I mean, and Michigan just coming off a loss too. So.
To Iowa, yeah. How about that?
I mean, there you go. I mean, luckily though, Michigan's back at the big house, so they should be all right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they're lucky that
I'm not too worried about any of those big schools losing.
Yeah, I'm not worried about Alabama losing at all. I think they're moving on.
You don't think that Alabama will lose at home to Chattanooga?
Oh, Chattanooga, man. It's tough. Riding that Chattanooga choo-choo, I don't know. That's tough.
I like your alliteration there.
Yeah.
We're going to use alliteration.
Back to the 1920s music.
Yeah, no, they should have no problem with those with Chattanooga. That should be not even close. We're talking probably 60 points, right? That kind of.
Yeah, it's
at least
be
something like that. Yeah.
Ugly.
Yep. Even though Chattanooga looks respectable, 8-2, but not against a team like Alabama.
Who does Notre Dame face?
Notre Dame.
Any Notre Dame game is always nice to watch.
Virginia Tech. They host Virginia Tech.
Notre Dame's horrible.
4-6.
Yeah, we're terrible, but
Virginia Tech's good. Watch out for them. They're good. They're looking to win the ACC Coastal and then go up against Clemson for the championship game. So.
Yeah.
Virginia Tech's pretty good.
We'll see.
Yeah. That's another team to watch.
They're not Clemson good. Yeah, they're not.
No,
they're
but
are they even ranked?
No.
Yeah, they're not even bowl game ranked. I think bowl game.
The one thing about college football, since it's only 4 teams have a shot at winning the national, the actual national championship, that makes me just very disinterested in the other.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's just
teams 10. If you're not in the top 10,
don't bother.
Yes, you still have a very good team, but I'm just not interested in you.
Yeah.
Because if you don't have a chance at winning the championship, then I'm just not going to be that interested in watching you.
No, it's the only games I really tune in to watch anymore are all right, show me the Alabama game.
Yeah, I think that's what hurts college football.
Yeah, I think that's the only thing I don't like about the playoff is just because back in the day,
and it's better. It used to be only 2 teams. Now at least it's 4. But I think they need to expand it to at least 8.
Yeah.
That's what I was just going to ask. You guys see expansion necessary?
I think they should do an expansion. I think it'd be nice.
I think it would just add more hype around it, which in turn would get more viewers, more attention, because more teams are playing.
Yeah, anytime you can involve, just like at baseball, adding the second wild card,
has been huge for them.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
so many more teams have a chance at making the playoffs now. And
It makes it more interesting, right?
Better for the sport.
Yeah,
More compelling.
And it gives better baseball like towards the end of the season too.
Yeah, like,
Absolutely.
This Oklahoma West Virginia game, it's number 9 ranked Oklahoma, who's 8-2, against number 14 ranked West Virginia, who's 8-1. I mean, those are two very good teams.
Yeah, it's just,
and I just don't really care that much about it because neither of them are going to make the playoffs.
Yeah, I know it's tough. Like it's tough for those teams now, like to even get any notoriety anymore because of the system.
But no, I agree. That expansion, that'd be cool to see more teams, get involved in that.
You'd see Oklahoma try to get into that 8 spot.
And they have plenty of time too. Like the regular season. Like the conference championship games, like the first week of December.
Yeah.
And then
doesn't take place till January.
The semifinals isn't until like New Year's Eve.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So they have plenty of weeks to have like a quarterfinals and then a semifinals and then a final.
Yeah. So like I don't know why they wouldn't do that. Sure.
So I think that's definitely something to
consider.
Yeah,
going forward, at least with this whole playoff idea, right?
Yeah, I think they should at least add 4 more and double it to at least 8 teams.
Yeah, 8 teams would be nice.
Right,
and it just gives other people a chance to win that normally wouldn't. So.
Yeah. All right. So what do we got for the for football?
So we're doing pro now, right?
Regular pro.
Right. So
make
for
our picks.
NFL, yes.
All right, let's go.
Schedule.
We will start off with probably the most difficult game to decide who's going to win.
Oh, boy.
Uh-oh.
The Pittsburgh Steelers at the, drum roll please, Cleveland Browns.
Oh, man. I might take 10-15 minutes to think about this one. Wow.
This is going to be a hard, I got to, have a contemplation with myself on this one.
I'm going to take Cleveland Browns. I believe none.
At least someone does, because I'm pretty sure no one else does, so.
You know what? They said it to the Cubs, they said it to Donald Trump, and they said that to, I don't know what else next, but because it's been a week, if anything is...
Yeah, but that's, I don't know. Donald Trump was the Republican nominee for president, and the Chicago Cubs were the best team in the Major League.
But somebody said,
the Browns are 0-10.
The Cubs
the Browns do not have talent.
And also, they were probably just playing for that first round pick.
All right.
The first NFL.
Well, no, I don't buy into that. Like, I don't think any team is trying to lose games because the players, like maybe their ownership, like I can buy ownership wants them to lose.
Yeah.
But the players are playing for their jobs.
Yeah, that's true.
Like the players are never gonna.
And also, they're probably now.
They're not just gonna be like, oh, here's football, go ahead, score on us,
The players in Cleveland too. For the players for the Browns right now are probably just playing to get out of Cleveland.
Yeah, exactly. Like, they want to play their best for then other teams to sign them.
All right.
So I assume, and then you're going with the Steelers.
Yeah, I gotta go with the Steelers. They're just a lot better. They're just like if it was like I don't know if we put like a who else is really bad? If we put Jacksonville against the Browns, then I would give the Browns a little chance, but not against the Steelers.
Okay, here is the Browns' remaining schedule.
Yeah, give me the remaining schedule.
And tell me if you think they're going 0-16.
Okay.
Home against the Steelers, home against the Giants, home against the Bengals, at the Buffalo Bills, home against the Chargers, and then at the Steelers again.
The Chargers might be that game that they might get that one win if they like to go.
I'm looking at possibly the Bills and then possibly the Chargers. Yeah.
Yeah, but all those other teams, no.
The Bills at home though, it's tough.
I still think on paper the Browns are probably gonna go 0-16.
Yeah. I could see it 0-16. Yeah. I mean, the one game I could see is the Chargers, but that's it.
And so Nick, who do you got?
Oh boy, still need more time to think about this. No. It's Pittsburgh, obviously, they're just the better team. Cleveland's just having a disaster of a season, so I think they go in 16. Take the Steelers.
I mean, Pittsburgh probably should have won against the Cowboys, but they ended up their defense decided to not play on that last play and just let Elliott run 30-something yards for the touchdown.
Yeah.
So I got the Steelers too for the same reasons.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
Speaking of the Cowboys, they are the next game. The Cowboys are in Dallas hosting the Baltimore Ravens.
Hosting? Oh, no. Yeah, that's a pretty obvious pick for me. Dallas is just on fire, and like, did you guys watch Tony Romo's speech about his basically concession speech that he's
I didn't hear it. I heard about it.
He's giving the role to Dak Prescott pretty much.
Yeah.
So it's pretty much over for him in Dallas unless he wants to just remain the backup quarterback. But the Jets are probably going to.
Tony Romo.
I think
Jets starting quarterback next year.
Honestly, that's probably going to happen at this point. I'm not going to question that. But yeah, Dallas by a lot.
So the Jets will make the playoffs and lose in the first round.
Yes, pretty much. That's
what
how it's going to be. But yeah, Dallas by a lot over in this one. They're playing at home. Baltimore's absolutely terrible right now, and yeah.
Do you know which team is leading the AFC North right now?
Is it the Baltimore Ravens?
It is the Baltimore Ravens.
Oh my lord!
Because
it's that bad of a league.
Well, the Steelers.
Division, I mean, yeah.
When Roethlisberger was out there, the Steelers lost a couple of games in a row.
Yeah.
The Bengals.
Bengals are just awful.
Well, the Bengals have to the Bengals' credit. The Bengals all their losses have been against good teams.
Okay. So.
These are the Bengals' losses.
It's a tough schedule they got.
Yeah. I think the Bengals are third right now, but I think the Bengals out of the 4 teams in their division, I think the Bengals are the best team.
That's what I thought. I thought the Bengals were the best team in their division.
These are the teams the Bengals have lost to this year: the Steelers, the Broncos, the Cowboys, the Patriots, and the Giants.
Yeah.
So they really haven't had a bad loss.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I see that.
And I mean, they have the Bills coming up. They'll have the Ravens twice. They'll have the Browns. So they have definitely a little bit easier of a schedule now in the second half.
Yeah. Yep.
So getting back to this week's game, Nick, who do you have between the Cowboys and the Ravens?
I might actually have to pick against you two.
I haven't picked yet. You don't know.
Oh.
Yeah,
but that might
I
be.
could pick a tie for all you know.
Oh,
no.
Well, okay. Did we not have a tie last week? Did we finally break the?
Yeah, there was finally no tie.
No
Wow.
ties.
How about that? So, I just have to go with the Ravens because they've won 2 straight. Granted, those teams, one of them was Cleveland. They beat Pittsburgh. But I think Dallas is going to lose at some point again after the Giants beat them to give them that one loss. I think the Ravens are a team that might be able to do it, although Dallas is going to be tough place to play. They're on the road, so. But I'm going to pick Baltimore to win this one. Plus, I'm a Giants fan, so I really don't want the Cowboys to win because they need to start losing games if they have any hope of winning the division.
Okay.
So I'll pick Ravens.
I don't think the Giants are going to win the division. I think they're going to make the playoffs, but as a wild card team.
Yeah.
Because the Cowboys are just really when you look at the NFC.
Best team, one of the best teams in the NFC.
Well, they're best team in the league right now, record-wise, I think, right?
Well, yes, they are. But just at the NFC, the Vikings have fallen off a cliff, basically. Yep. The Packers have fallen off with them in that same cliff.
Yeah.
The Falcons are good but inconsistent.
Panthers are the same.
The only team that's really close to the Cowboys right now is the Seahawks.
Yeah.
The Seahawks aren't even that good.
Even then, they have...
They're really good. They just beat New England. Are you kidding me? New England?
I mean,
they're starting to get better.
They're getting better.
Yeah, they got off to not the best start.
Yeah, they were on a rocky start.
So I think the Seahawks could end up being.
They could be they'll probably play for the NFC Championship.
Yeah, if they continue their momentum, the Seahawks could definitely get on that same level as Dallas. But I think the Cowboys are heads and shoulders the best team in the NFC.
I think right now that you could even say that the Cowboys are Super Bowl bound at this point. For sure.
Well, they're the best team in the league. Like I said, they're better than the Pats. They're better than. But
I'm very happy to say that.
Yeah.
They're the Patriots.
So I will unfortunately have to pick the Cowboys.
Okay.
I don't see them losing at home to the Ravens.
Exactly.
Too much talent on Dallas.
Exactly.
Their offensive line too. Like no one
Yeah,
talks about their
they're
offensive line.
beasts because like Ezekiel
Elliott's
Elliott,
good, yes, but he has like an open running lane, like every single play.
it's kind of
So.
crazy. Yeah.
So the next game, the Jacksonville Jaguars in Detroit playing the Lions.
In Detroit,
Yes.
I'll give it to Detroit. Detroit's I'll give it. I think they're just a little better than Jacksonville. Jacksonville's just awful. Matthew Stafford's a much better quarterback, I think, than Blake Bortles. But, so yeah. Give me the Lions on that one at home. I like the Lions.
All right, Nick.
Ooh, again, another pick I'm going to take maybe 5-10 minutes to think about. No, I'm just kidding. I'm going to go with Detroit all the way. They went into Minnesota, beat the Vikings. I know what we said. The Vikings kind of fell off a cliff a little bit, but I felt like playing at Minnesota is a tough place to play with their new stadium, and they were still able to, they came back in that game, I think, beat them. So I like Detroit all the way in this game. No question.
Yeah, as the Vikings and the Packers have struggled, as I said, the Detroit Lions are now on top of the NFC North.
Mm-hmm.
Just like that, huh?
I think the Lions are a pretty good under-the-radar team.
Yeah.
I'm going to pick Detroit. Stafford, as you said, I think is a very good quarterback.
Yep.
And the Jaguars are just horrible. Add all that together, and I think the Lions will win.
Absolutely.
So next, a game out of the AFC South. The Indianapolis Colts are hosting the Tennessee Titans.
Oh, are hosting the Tennessee Titans. You know, I like Tennessee. Tennessee's playing really well right now, and I think they're going to continue. I think Marcus Mariota's really proven himself in the past few days. I mean, they absolutely slaughtered Green Bay. I mean, was that last week? So
Yeah.
Yep.
And so they're
destroyed on 47 to 25.
And and Green Bay's I think a little better than Indianapolis right now. So I'll go with the Titans by a lot.
I mean, yeah, absolutely. I completely agree with that. I think Marcus Mariota is playing out of his mind right now. I mean, granted, yes, Green Bay is really struggling, but to beat that team the way that they did, with Aaron Rodgers and company, that's a great achievement for them, considering where Tennessee was, at the start of the season. So yeah, I like the Tennessee Titans all the way.
I think out of these two teams, I think the Tennessee Titans are the better team.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm going to pick the Colts for this specific game. For 3 reasons. Number one, the Colts already beat the Titans earlier this year, a couple weeks ago. Number two, the Colts are coming off their bye, and I always like picking teams who are coming off their bye.
Mm-hmm.
And number three, Andrew Luck always plays well against Tennessee.
Yeah, okay.
Like, that's just a team he always plays well against. And actually, a fourth reason, the Titans coming off that huge win.
Yeah.
Like, I think they're kind of due for like
a lot.
an emotional letdown type game, if you know what I'm talking
Yeah,
about.
yeah. I know.
So
Wow, no love for Tennessee here, huh?
I think the Titans are a good team. I think
Yeah.
the Titans are a better team than the Indianapolis Colts, but I think just for this specific game on Sunday, the Colts will win the game.
That's a good point.
Okay, to be seen.
So next we have in Cincinnati, the Bengals against the Buffalo Bills.
In Cincinnati, are the Bengals right now? Are they on top in the AFC North?
No, it's Baltimore.
Ravens.
Oh, the Ravens.
They're in third, right? Because
Yeah.
Baltimore, Pittsburgh,
They're
then
in third.
Cincinnati.
Who are they playing again? I'm sorry.
Buffalo at Cincinnati.
Oh,
Yeah.
I like the Bills a little bit better, just by a hair. I think they're gonna come back. Even I don't like picking the Bills, but I think the Bills are just a little better of a team right now than the Bengals. So.
Yeah, Nick?
Bills.
That's a tough pick because I think this game could actually go either way. Buffalo's coming off that very emotional loss against the Seahawks where they felt that there was a call made against them or no call rather, that should have been called, that they felt like they got robbed of that. So I think they're going to be a little bit emotional here. They really need to get back on track if they have any hopes of making the playoffs, getting a wild card spot. But then so does Cincinnati. They obviously want to get a win against a team that is not regarded as one of the best in the league. They want to take advantage of that and being at home. It's a tough call, but I might have to go lean towards Buffalo, actually, to be honest. I give them, but I think this could go either way.
Yeah, all right, well, I think the Bengals are a better team. The Bills, the reason why I worry for the Bengals is that the Bills are coming off their bye, and the Bengals just play Monday Night Football, so they're on a short week. So that goes against the Bengals, I think. But I think the Bills have just been on, after being like really hot for like a 4-game period, have just been sort of downhill now. And these are games the Bengals need to win to get back into playoff contention. And watching them play against the Giants, the Bengals really aren't that bad of a team. They just had a couple plays here and there that have lost them some key games. So I'm going to pick the Bengals, go out on my own here, and hopefully pick up a game with that one as well. Next, we have the Kansas City Chiefs hosting the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
Oh, this is a blowout. Well, not really a blowout, but the Chiefs are a better team right now. And the Chiefs at home, I don't know who picks against the Chiefs at home. Chiefs at home are just Arrowhead Stadium is just like one of the loudest stadiums I think in sports, and I think they just have a little better, more experienced quarterback. They have a better defense, I think, than Tampa Bay. So I'll go with the Chiefs.
I agree with that all the way. The Chiefs, since November of 2015, the Chiefs are 7-2 in regular season games, which is ridiculous. So they're on a ridiculous streak right now. They're on a tear. So I don't think this is going to be that close. And they're at home. So I'm going Kansas City Chiefs all the way. I'm going to make them 18-2 after this game.
Yeah, Chiefs are on a 5-game win streak. I'm going with the Chiefs as well. They're at home, as you guys have said. I'm not totally counting Tampa out there because I think Tampa's actually a pretty good team for like in what people think they are. I think they're a little better than what people think. They're on sort of an uptick, but it's still going to take a while for them, and I don't see them going into Kansas City and winning.
Yeah.
So next game is my game, the Giants hosting the Chicago Bears.
Oh, yeah, I like the Giants. The Bears are just really bad this year, and the Giants are actually pretty good. So I like the Giants by a little bit.
Oh yeah, all the way. Same here. Giants all the way. The Chicago Bears are just a train wreck this season. I mean, they've been having issues with team chemistry as well, because I've heard there's a lot of tension between Jay Cutler and John Fox, and the team too. So there's just a lot of issues going on right now with that team, and I really don't think it's going to be that close. So I'm going to go Giants all the way, especially with the Giants playing at home. So go Giants.
Well, I'm definitely going with my Giants. That's unquestionably going with them. But I think it'll be a close game just because the Giants always play in close games.
Yeah.
Like, they'll hang with the teams that are better than them and keep it close, but they also won't like break away from the bad teams and those games will be close too. So I think the Giants will win, but it'll probably remain close down the stretch in the fourth quarter, unfortunately.
Closer than the experts.
So next is an interesting game between two teams who were at one point pretty good and thought to have been good, but have hit some hard times. The Arizona Cardinals in Minnesota taking on the Vikings.
This is a tough one for me. They're playing in Minnesota?
In Minnesota,
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Cardinals are 4-4-1. Vikings are 5-4, but on a 4-game losing streak.
You know what? I think this is the game that they get back. I think this is when the Vikings come back and win this one. They're going to be at home. They're playing in the cold, which they like. So I think it'll be the Vikings by a hair. It's going to be close. I just think Sam Bradford they'll pick up a win after that tough losing streak, and they'll get back to normalcy a little bit. So I like the Vikings at home.
I have to say, I think this game could go either way. I'm just looking at the Arizona Cardinals schedule, and the teams they've beaten are not really that good. Like, they beat Tampa Bay, San Francisco, who's absolutely terrible, the Jets, who are terrible, and the Niners, again, who are terrible. So you combine those wins, and they haven't beat anybody good. They lost to the Patriots, granted by 2 points. That game was very close to open the season. Lost to the Bills, lost to the Panthers. So I don't think they're going to be able to beat Minnesota. I think you're right. I think Minnesota's going to finally snap out of whatever funk they're in, and they're playing at home, which I said earlier is a tough place to play up there in their new stadium. So I'm going to go with Minnesota, but I think, again, this is a game that could go either way.
Right, for the, I think, third time already, I'm going to go out on my own again and pick the Cardinals. I just don't trust the Vikings at all right now. I think they're just, going to downhill fast. I don't trust Sam Bradford at all as a quarterback. Their points per game, and this isn't just their losing streak, this is their whole season. They're only scoring 19.4 points per game, the Vikings. They don't have a running game at all right now either, without Adrian Peterson. So when you can't run the ball and your quarterback can't throw the ball,
It's a problem.
Yeah, severely.
Yeah. I don't care how good you were at one point.
Yeah.
I'm going to go with the Cardinals. I just trust them a little bit more. Cardinals are a 500 team right now, and they're still looking to try and remain competitive for a wild card spot. So I'll go with the Cardinals. Next, getting into now the games that start in the 4 o'clock hour, the afternoon games. Aaron's Miami Dolphins are going to be traveling West Coast again to take on the LA Rams.
Oh yeah, we have a 3. I think we're having a 3-week West Coast bid going on here.
Do you?
I think so. They ever play the Raiders maybe next weekend?
Well, you were just in San Diego.
Yeah.
Now you're in LA. But and then the next week you are playing the 49ers, but it's in Miami.
Oh, okay, playing the 49ers in Miami. Okay.
But 3 straight California teams.
Yeah. Well, I like the Dolphins as always. Honestly, the Rams aren't giving. I heard that they might be playing Jared Goff.
They could.
They might be playing Jared Goff because they're giving up on the season. So.
Well, Case Keenum as your starting quarterback is never a good idea.
But hey, I think the Dolphins are really, really doing well, and they need these crucial wins against teams like the Rams to get to the playoffs. So I definitely like the Dolphins going into LA and just having a feed on the Rams. So let's go Dolphins.
Nick?
Yeah, I completely agree with him. Personally, I don't think the Rams are that good. I think they're a very inconsistent team. And Jay Ajayi for the Dolphins, he's just been on a tear. He's been on a tear. No one's really had any answers for him. And the Dolphins are just playing some really good football right now. I mean, they beat Pittsburgh pretty handily, which is regarded as a good team. Buffalo's not bad this year. They beat the Chargers, I think they're still under 500, but they could go either way. They could, go on a 3-4 game winning streak. They were able to beat the Broncos, and they almost beat them twice. So, I think the Dolphins are playing really good football right now, so I'm going to go with them all the way.
Yeah, the Rams did just win last week. But
against the Jets, yeah.
It was against the Jets in a very ugly
9-6. Yep.
The Dolphins have surprised me. They're on a 4-game winning streak. They've had some good wins, and I think they're going to keep this momentum going. I think playing on the West Coast makes me a little hesitant, but they just proved last week that they could win out on the West Coast. Yep. So that doesn't really worry me anymore because they just did it in San Diego. Yeah. So the Dolphins could definitely stick around and have a good chance at a wild card this year. So
just to let you know, they were staying on the West Coast for the week. So just to let you know, they weren't going home.
Well acclimated.
Yeah.
So I'll make it 3 for 3 for us to make the Dolphins.
All right.
Finally, we break the disagreeing.
The Dolphins sweep.
Yeah. Well, we have had some games where we all agree on the Chiefs and the Giants.
Yeah.
So the next game, this is going to be tough. The Patriots at the 49ers.
Oh, so hard.
Oh, my God.
Who do you think's a better quarterback, Tom Brady or Colin Kaepernick?
Well, they might even play him. They might go back to Gabbert, maybe. We don't know, right? They're probably gonna play
Same
Kaepernick, but
question. Who do you think's a better quarterback?
Yeah, I know, right? Yeah.
Honestly, the Patriots just might play Garoppolo, and still I think Garoppolo is a better quarterback than Colin.
Than anything they could offer, yeah.
So,
Garoppolo is probably better than Kaepernick and Gabbert.
Yeah.
Yes.
Playing at the same time,
So,
even, you know.
as I always say, I am probably the biggest hater of Colin Kaepernick. So, yeah. Even though I hate picking the Patriots, this is just a game that they cannot lose. Especially coming off a horrible, horrible loss to the Seahawks.
Hey, it's never a bad loss to lose to them. They're a good team.
Yeah, but Patriots are pretty darn good. But yeah, Patriots big. I mean, big, like 40 point blowout. Big against the 49ers. Yeah.
All right, yeah, I'm gonna have to second that. I mean, they're pretty much trending in opposite directions right now. I mean, San Francisco each week just continues to drop, you know, very significantly. They're 1-8. They've only won one game this whole year. And the Patriots, you know, they're always good year in, year out. So, again, even though it's, you know, pains me to pick New England, I have to go with them.
Yeah, I mean, definitely Patriots, not disagreeing. I mean, say whatever your opinion on Kaepernick is, whether he's good and taking a stand or whether he's bad and being disrespectful.
He's a bad
That doesn't change the fact. Either one of those two things doesn't change the fact that on the field, he is not a good quarterback.
Yeah, he's terrible.
He was good a couple years ago, but that was in Jim Harbaugh's system.
Yeah.
Jim Harbaugh is 10 times a better coach than Chip Kelly ever will be.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely.
And the 49ers are just awful right now, so I think Patriots by like 20 or 30 even maybe. Who knows?
Yeah.
So next is the Philadelphia Eagles and the Seattle Seahawks in Seattle.
Oh, in Seattle. In Seattle's tough. I mean, the Eagles are good, but they're the Seattle at home is just tough to pick against. So I gotta go Seattle at home because they're just good at home.
Thank you. Finally, a little respect towards my team.
It's Seattle at home. I mean, you don't pick against the 12th man at home.
See, thank you. See, you know better. See, you know they're good. You just don't want to admit it. I was gonna say Seattle all the way. If they can go to New England and knock off the Patriots the way they did, I'm pretty sure they can win pretty much the rest of their games. Because I think that was the hardest game for them all year. They're gonna have to play was going to New England. You know, especially after the Super Bowl they played in a few years ago with them. So Seattle all the way, without a question. Because I really think that they're the better team. They're playing at home. They got the 12th man behind them. They're gonna have a good crowd. I just think the Philadelphia Eagles are just a very inconsistent team this year, and I feel like we can't really judge them on who they are as a team because they've had some really bad losses, you know, to teams that they definitely should have beaten. I mean, and their one chance to get a good win was against the Cowboys in overtime, and they didn't do it. They couldn't pull out the win. So I feel like they're just a really inconsistent team. So go Hawks all the way.
Yeah, I'll agree and pick the Seahawks. I mean, no one has ever questioned, I think, the Seahawks defense. But it was their offense that led the Seahawks to being like a bad team in the middle part of their season there, only scoring 6 against the Cardinals, losing to who else did they lose to? I forget who they lost to. Losing to the Saints, that's it. But Russell Wilson is finally starting to look a little bit like he used to, starting to make some better decisions, run the ball too. So I think their offense is starting to break out of their slump. So I definitely will pick Seattle at home. Then we have the Sunday night football game in our nation's capital of D.C. The Redskins host the Green Bay Packers.
Oh. Ew, you know, what's the Redskins' record right now?
5-3-1.
The Redskins are 5-3-1. The Packers are 4-5.
All right. As the inner Dan Snyder in me says from PR class.
Let's just put some context to that statement, please.
Yeah.
That's not probably the best thing to say. You had to be Dan Snyder for your
Yeah,
PR
I had
class.
to be Dan Snyder for my PR class, my sports PR class. So, but yeah, the character Dan Snyder says Redskins by a hair at home because they're a little better right now than the Green Bay Packers.
Yeah, I agree. I think the Packers are kind of in a free fall here. I feel like the Redskins have beaten, some respectable teams. Pains me to say they beat the Giants, who are good. They obviously the Vikings, they're in the same situation as the Packers, but they beat them too. So if they can beat the Vikings, I think they can beat the Packers. Considering the Vikings have already played the Packers and won, and they're at home. So I'm gonna go with the Redskins.
Yeah. Last week, you might remember, I really wanted to pick Tennessee. I said it like 3 times, and then I ended up going with the Packers because, okay, I have to stick with Rodgers, but I'm not making that same mistake twice. I'm going with the Redskins. The Packers are just free falling there with the Vikings, so I'll pick the Redskins. And then the final game of the week, Monday night game.
Oh, in Mexico City.
In Mexico City,
Yeah.
Estadio Azteca. The Oakland Raiders and the Houston Texans.
I like the Raiders. The Raiders are like red hot right now, and they're gonna probably win the AFC West, which is absolutely amazing. So I like the Raiders in Mexico City.
Absolutely. I completely agree with that. I think the Raiders have proven everybody wrong, all the doubters that were still there. They're legit. I mean, the way they beat Denver and handled them to knock them off and regain control of their division, I mean, that was making a big statement right there, saying, we're back, don't underestimate us. And I really just think that Derek Carr is the better quarterback than Osweiler.
Yep.
I think the Texans have really struggled with him, and even though they are 6-3, I feel like they're maybe a little bit worse than what that record shows. And I think a team like Oakland, who's legit, who's actually playing for that, division title. I mean, if they can beat Denver, I think they can pretty much compete with anybody, honestly, because they're the defending Super Bowl champs. So I'm going to go Oakland all the way. In El Estadio de Azteca.
Yeah, I'm going to agree and pick the Raiders. I think the Raiders are definitely a very good team. That they've shown that they've beat some good teams. No, that's not what I want to see. Wait, hold on. Passing. Touchdowns. All right, Derek Carr. All right. I guess he's not as high as I thought he was. I was trying to see how the quarterback leaders for touchdowns this season.
Mm-hmm.
Derek Carr has thrown for 17, which puts him in 9th.
That's not bad.
Drew Brees is 1, Matt Ryan is 2, Aaron Rodgers 3.
Hence, all those teams have no running games.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I think the Raiders are a good, balanced team on both sides of the ball, all parts of the game. I think Houston, whenever they're at home, Houston is like a formidable opponent, but I just don't trust Houston on the road.
In Mexico City.
I mean, well, this is really a road game for both teams.
Yeah.
I think technically it's a home game for the Raiders.
Yeah, they're a designated home team.
But
wow.
yeah, I'll pick the Oakland Raiders. They're finally being good for the first time in 10-something plus years.
Yeah.
So yeah, I will agree with you and pick the Raiders in that one.
Shall we do though a Turkey Day pick just for the heck of it?
A Turkey Day, so the
Thanksgiving game just for the heck of it.
Well, there's a couple games.
It's
Yeah.
I think Detroit and the Vikings, I believe.
Okay.
Well, that's one of the games. Yeah, that's the earliest one. Yeah.
That's a good game.
The Lions and the Vikings, the Cowboys and the Redskins, and then the Colts and the Steelers.
All right, so
Well, one of them's very easy.
well, let's see. So it's so I'll give my I'll just line them up in order for you.
Yeah, you can go ahead and pick all 3 games.
So let's see. I'll go Lions. What's the next thing?
Cowboys, Redskins.
Okay, so Lions, Cowboys, and then what's the last one?
Steelers, Colts.
Steelers, Colts. Steelers.
In Indianapolis.
Oh, well, still Steelers. So yeah, so Lions, Cowboys, Steelers.
Right,
So
Mike, your picks for those 3 Thanksgiving Day games?
Yeah.
I'm gonna go with the Vikings because I feel like they're gonna get things together, work out all their issues by that time. So that's my first pick. My second pick between the Redskins and Cowboys. I'm actually with Washington because I think they're going to want to compete for the top, to knock off the Cowboys so they don't have to get the wild card. And I'm going to go with the Steelers.
All right. Yeah, it'll be tough just because like some of these teams, like I want to see if
the week after,
can respond,
I didn't know that. Yeah.
how Indy plays next week. But I will agree with Aaron. If it hits 3 teams, I'll go Detroit, Dallas, and Pittsburgh. Just solely because looking at those 3 games on paper, I'm picking which team I think is better.
Yeah, that's what I'm just going on.
So that could change by next week. Who
Mm-hmm.
knows?
Indeed.
But yeah, so those are our picks for next week and for the Thanksgiving games because we will not have a show next week.
Yeah.
Because we will all be home trying to recover from eating way too much on Thanksgiving.
Yeah, right.
Yep. Pretty much, yeah. Annual food coma.
Spending our
Yep.
Fridays.
We're on a
week from
cleanse
now.
right now, yeah.
Yep. We're preparing. We're leading up to that. Eventually stuffing ourselves with so much food we can't even get up.
Yeah, indeed.
Just sit on our couch and watch football. So.
Sounds like a good weekend to me. A good vacation time spent at home to me.
Yep.
Indeed.
So any last shout outs for you guys? Anything you want to?
Stay tuned and hope you all have a very, very happy Thanksgiving and eat a lot of turkey and eat a lot of mashed potatoes. Eat a lot of pumpkin pie.
Yep.
Don't
Yeah,
get
definitely.
sick, though.
Yeah. Enjoy the food, but don't enjoy it so much where
you get sick of it.
Yep.
Enjoy food and football
Food
and
and football.
family. The three F's.
Food, football, and family.
That sounds great to me. Sounds like a great plan, and we just want to thank you all for our Facebook Live
Yep.
followers out there. We thank you for tuning in for another edition of the Nick, Josh, and Aaron Sports Talk Radio Show. We'll be back in a couple weeks, right after Thanksgiving. We'll start this back up.
We will be back
Yep.
in 2 weeks from now.
Yep.
Yes, we will.
So,
Yes, we will.
4 o'clock right now. So thank you everyone for listening, and we will
Yep.
see you again in 2 weeks.
And happy Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving to you all.